Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever stood by a river and watched its flow? The most powerful force in nature isn't the one that fights. It's the one that flows. Water doesn't struggle against the rocks on its path. It simply flows around them. Over time, that gentle, persistent flow shapes mountains, carves valleys, and creates paths where none existed before. This is not weakness. This is ultimate strength. In your hands right now lies a power so magnificent, yet so often misunderstood. It's the power to win without raising your fists, to succeed without throwing a single punch. And this power, this incredible power, begins with understanding a fundamental truth. True victory isn't found in overpowering others, but in mastering yourself. When you squeeze water, what happens? It doesn't resist. It simply moves through your fingers. Yet this same water, given time and consistency, can cut through solid rock. That's the paradox of power I want you to grasp today. The greatest strength often lies not in pushing back, but in remaining fluid, adaptable, and wise. I remember watching two trees during a fierce storm. One was rigid, proud, refusing to bend. It stood tall and fought against every gust of wind. The other swayed, moved, and danced with the wind. When the storm passed, which tree do you think remained standing? The one that knew the secret non-resistance, the one that understood that sometimes the greatest victory comes from bending, not breaking. Most people have been programmed to believe that winning requires aggression, that success demands confrontation. But I am here to tell you something that might revolutionize your entire perspective. The most profound victories in life often come when we choose not to fight at all. Inside every one of you sits a power greater than any external force you will ever encounter. It's the power of internal victory. When you master this, you don't need to resist external pressures because you have already won the most important battle, the battle within yourself. Why does a master martial artist remain calm when challenged? Because they understand that true power isn't in the punch thrown, but in the wisdom to know when not to throw it. They have mastered something far more powerful than physical force. They have mastered themselves. This internal mastery, this ability to win without fighting back is not just a technique. It's a transformation. It's about becoming so secure in who you are that external resistance becomes irrelevant to your success. When you operate from this place of internal power, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your very presence becomes a force that shapes circumstances without conflict. The greatest power you possess isn't your ability to fight back, but in your capacity to rise above the fight altogether. And this brings us to a profound truth that many have missed. For too long, society has fed us a lie about what it means to win. They have told us winning means dominating, overpowering, being the last one standing in a fight. That's not winning at all. That's just temporary triumph, and temporary triumph is not your destiny. Picture with me, if you will, the bamboo tree. For 5 years, yes, 5 long years, this remarkable tree shows absolutely no growth above the ground. Nothing. Not an inch. If you were to judge by appearances, you'd face failing that it's losing the game of growth. But beneath the surface, something magnificent is happening. The bamboo is building an intricate root system, establishing its foundation. And then in the 6th year, something extraordinary occurs. It shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. What if the bamboo had tried to fight its way up in the 1st year? What if it had resisted its natural process, trying to force growth before its time? It would have failed. Instead, it understood something that many of us need to grasp. True power isn't in the speed of your rise, it's in the strength of your foundation. Influence, real, lasting influence, works exactly like this bamboo tree. While force might get you quick results, influence the foundation that no storm can shake. Force is like a flood. It comes fast, makes a lot of noise, and leaves destruction in its wake. But influence is like the steady flow of water that shapes the grandest canyons on earth. In my years of observing successful people, I have noticed that those who truly understand power never need to announce it. They never need to flex their muscles or raise their voice. Why? Because true power isn't in what you can make others do. It's in who you become that naturally draws others to follow. The sun never fights to shine. It never struggles to prove its brightness. It simply is. And by being what it is, it creates life, growth, and energy for our entire planet. That's the kind of power I am talking about, the power that comes from being, not forcing. Some of you might be thinking, but what about when others try to push me down? What about when I face opposition? This is where the real revelation comes in. When you understand true power, you realize that opposition isn't your enemy, it's your opportunity. Just like the resistance against your muscles in a gym builds your strength, the opposition in your life is building your character, your wisdom, your true power. Every time you choose influence over force, you are not just winning a battle. You are transforming the battlefield itself. You are changing the rules of engagement. You are elevating the entire game. Because when you operate from a place of true power, you don't need to defeat others to succeed. You succeed by elevating everyone around you. This is why understanding true power is so crucial. It's not about having the loudest voice in the room. It's about having the most impactful presence. It's not about being the strongest physically. It's about being the strongest in character, in wisdom, in understanding. When you grasp this, everything changes. Your relationships transform. Your leadership evolves. Your very presence begins to influence situations without you having to say a word. Unlike physical force, which depletes with use, true power, the power of influence, of wisdom, of understanding, grows stronger the more you use it. Every time you choose to respond with wisdom instead of reaction, every time you choose to influence rather than force, you are not just winning the moment. You are building your capacity for greater victories ahead. This is why understanding strategic patience becomes absolutely crucial in your journey of winning without fighting back. You see, in a world obsessed with instant results, with immediate reactions, with quick fixes, the true master of destiny understands something profound. Timing is everything. A farmer can't rush the harvest by pulling on the plants. You can't force a seed to grow faster by shouting at it. The farmer understands something that many of us have forgotten. There is a season for planting, a season for nurturing, and a season for harvesting. And here's the key. The farmer who fights against these seasons will always lose, but the one who aligns with them will always win. In every conflict, in every challenge you face, there are three distinct moments. The moment of provocation, the moment of patience, and the moment of power. Most people react in the moment of provocation, and that's exactly why they lose. But when you understand strategic patience, you realize that the moment of provocation is actually your opportunity to prepare for the moment of power. Calculated restraint isn't weakness, it's wisdom in motion. When someone pushes your buttons, when they try to provoke you into a fight, they are actually revealing their own weakness, not yours. They are showing you their cards while you keep yours close to your chest. That's the power of strategic patience. Consider the eagle. When a storm approaches, other birds hide from the wind, but the eagle. The eagle uses that very same wind to rise higher than ever before. The eagle doesn't fight the storm. It uses the storm. That's what strategic patience enables you to do. It gives you the wisdom to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. Let's break down the anatomy of conflict, because this is where many people miss the mark. Every conflict has three elements: emotion, timing, and position. The person who can master their emotions, understand timing, and maintain their position is the one who ultimately prevails. You don't master these elements by fighting against them. You master them through strategic patience. When water meets an obstacle, it doesn't stop flowing. It doesn't fight. It doesn't get frustrated. It simply finds another path. And in finding that path, it shapes the very landscape it flows through. That's what strategic patience does. It doesn't just help you overcome obstacles. It transforms those obstacles into stepping stones. Strategic patience isn't passive waiting. It's active preparation. While others are reacting, you are observing. While they are fighting, you are learning. While they are exhausting themselves in battles that don't matter, you are conserving your energy for the moments that do. In every conflict, there's a natural rhythm, just like there's a rhythm to the seasons. When you understand this rhythm, You start to see that most conflicts resolve themselves if you just have the patience to let them play out. The person who's always fighting is like someone trying to paddle upstream. They are exhausting themselves fighting against the natural flow of life. Conflict not about who's stronger, it's about who's wiser. It's not about who can throw the hardest punch, it's about who can maintain their composure long enough to see the bigger picture. Strategic patience gives you this wisdom. It gives you the power to see beyond the immediate moment into the greater possibilities that lie ahead. And when you master this philosophy of strategic patience, something remarkable happens. You stop being reactive and become responsive. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a master of opportunities. You stop fighting against the current and learn to navigate the river of life with wisdom and purpose. The greatest kingdom you will ever rule is not external. When I talk about mastering your internal kingdom, I am talking about something far more powerful than any external authority you might possess. Because you see, the person who hasn't mastered themselves will never truly master anything else. In every moment of your life, there are two people fighting for control. The person you are and the person you are becoming. And the key to victory isn't in fighting others, it's in unifying these two aspects of yourself under the banner of self-control. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in any room aren't usually the ones making the most noise? They are the ones who have mastered their internal kingdom. They don't need to raise their voice because they have raised their standards. They don't need to fight because they have already won the battle within. Emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding feelings. It's about understanding power. When you master your emotions, you master your destiny. Because here's the truth. People who can't control their emotions will always be controlled by those who can. That's not manipulation. That's the natural law of personal sovereignty. Every time you react emotionally to a situation, you are actually giving away your power. You are abdicating your throne in your internal kingdom. But when you respond with emotional intelligence, you are not just maintaining control, you are expanding your influence. Consider a master chess player. They don't get emotional about their opponent's moves. They don't fight against the game's rules. Instead, they maintain such profound internal control that every move, every decision comes from a place of strategic clarity. That's what mastering your internal kingdom looks like. Sovereignty means absolute authority within your domain. Your thoughts, your emotions, your responses. These are your domain. When you truly understand this, you realize that no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. No one can disturb your peace without your consent. This kind of mastery doesn't come from suppressing your emotions. It comes from understanding them so deeply that they become your servants rather than your masters. When someone tries to provoke you to anger, the master of their internal kingdom doesn't fight the anger. They channel it into determination. When fear arrives, they don't fight it. They transform it into focus. You have absolute power to transform energy. Anxiety can become excitement. Frustration can become motivation. But this only happens when you understand that you are not your emotions, you are the ruler of your emotions. A lighthouse for a moment. No matter how fierce the storm, how high the waves, how strong the wind. The lighthouse never fights. It never wavers. It simply stands unwavering in its purpose, unshaken in its position. That's what mastering your internal kingdom looks like. You become so grounded in who you are that external storms can't your internal stability. When you master your internal kingdom, external victories become almost effortless. Because people are naturally drawn to those who possess this kind of internal mastery. They trust leaders who can lead themselves. They respect those who have earned their own self-respect. Every external conflict is first won or lost in your internal kingdom. The moment you master your internal response to external pressure, you have already won. Because true victory isn't in controlling others, it's in being so in control of yourself that others want to follow your lead. Picture with me the ancient art of Aikido, where the master doesn't meet force with force, but transforms the attacker's energy into a path of harmony. This, my friends, is the essence of transformative response. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you transform what happens to you. Opposition isn't your enemy. It's your opportunity wearing a different costume. Every push against you is actually energy being handed to you, freely given. The question isn't whether you will receive pressure. The question is what you will do with it when it comes. In my years of observation, I have noticed that the most successful people aren't those who never face opposition. They are the ones who've mastered the art of transforming opposition into elevation. They understand that every attack carries within it the seeds of advancement. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. When someone comes at you with noise, with aggression, with force, your silence becomes a force of its own. It's like the space between musical notes. Without it, you don't have music, you just have noise. Have you ever noticed how a quiet person in a room full of chaos naturally draws attention? That's because strategic silence carries more weight than 1,000 empty words. When you master the art of strategic silence, you are not just avoiding conflict. You are commanding respect. Diplomatic wisdom, not about being silent all the time. It's about understanding the weight of your words and choosing the perfect moment to speak them. Like a master musician who knows that the power isn't just in playing the notes, but in knowing when to let them breathe. Every opposition you face comes with a hidden door of opportunity. The person shouting at you, they are actually giving you a chance to demonstrate composure. The one trying to push you down, they are offering you a platform to rise higher. The obstacle in your path, it's actually a step waiting to be transformed into a stepping stone. Diplomatic wisdom isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about transforming conflict. It's about being like water, which doesn't fight the rock in its path, but shapes itself around it. And in doing so, shapes the rock itself. That's true power. That's true transformation. When a pearl faces irritation, it doesn't fight back. It doesn't try to expel the grain of sand that's bothering it. Instead, it transforms that irritation into something beautiful. That's what I am talking about. The power to transform opposition into opportunity isn't just a skill, it's an art form. Many people miss the mark. They think diplomatic wisdom means always agreeing, always backing down. But that's not it at all. True diplomatic wisdom is about maintaining your position while elevating the entire conversation. It's about being so secure in your truth that you don't need to defend it. You simply need to demonstrate it. You have three choices. You can fight back and lower yourself to the level of the conflict. You can run away and lose your position. Or you can transform that opposition into an opportunity for elevation. The master of transformative response always chooses elevation. When you master the art of transformative response, you are not just avoiding fights. You are transforming the entire battlefield into a platform for growth. You are not just winning battles. You are making battles unnecessary. When you truly understand leadership, you realize something profound. True power doesn't push, it pulls. It doesn't demand attention, it commands it. And this, my friends, is where non-resistance becomes your greatest strength in leadership. Most people think leadership is about being in front, about pushing others forward, about making things happen through force. But let me tell you something. The greatest leaders I have observed understand that leadership is about creating an environment where others naturally want to move forward. It's like gravity. It doesn't push, it draws. Moon. The moon never fights with the ocean, yet it moves entire seas. It never shouts at the waves, yet they follow its rhythm without resistance. That's the kind of leadership power I am talking about. The power that influences without interference, that leads without force. Building authority isn't about raising your voice, it's about raising your value. When you understand this principle, you realize that every moment spent fighting for position is a moment wasted. True authority doesn't come from what you demand from others. It comes from what you deposit into others. The tallest trees have the deepest roots. They don't compete with other trees for attention. They simply grow so tall that others naturally look up to them. That's what building authority without aggression looks like. It's not about pushing others down to rise up. It's about growing so substantially that elevation becomes natural. Leadership. They think being a leader means always being out front, always being visible, always being heard. But true leadership often happens in the spaces between actions, in the moments of empowerment rather than enforcement. When you plant a seed, you don't pull on it to make it grow. You create the right environment, you provide nourishment, you ensure it has what it needs to thrive. That's what non-resistant leadership looks like. You are not forcing growth, you are facilitating it. The principle of servant leadership takes this even further. The greatest paradox of leadership is this: the more you serve, the more authority you gain. It's completely opposite to what most people think. They believe leadership is about being served, but true leadership is about finding ways to serve. The most influential person in any room isn't the one demanding attention, it's the one giving attention. It's not the one speaking the loudest, it's the one listening the deepest. Because influence isn't about imposing your will. It's about inspiring others to embrace their own potential. When you lead through non-resistance, something remarkable happens. People don't follow you because they have to. They follow you because they want to. They don't move because you push them. They move because you have shown them a better way to be. Have you ever noticed how a skilled conductor leads an orchestra? They don't play any instrument, yet they create beautiful music. They don't force any musician to play, yet every musician follows their lead. That's the essence of non-resistant leadership. The ability to coordinate without controlling, to guide without grabbing. When you master leadership through non-resistance, you create something far more valuable than obedience. You create loyalty. You create commitment. You create a movement that continues even when you are not present, because you have led on to their own greatness rather than just to your goals. We stand at the most crucial moment. The moment where wisdom meets action, where understanding transforms into implementation. Because you see, all the knowledge in the world means nothing without application. The power to win without fighting back isn't just a concept. It's a lifestyle that transforms every area of your life. When your colleague takes credit for your work, instead of fighting back, you focus on producing work so remarkable that your signature becomes unmistakable. When someone attempts to provoke you in a meeting, rather than responding with anger, you respond with such profound insight that their provocation becomes irrelevant. Winning without fighting back means understanding that your response to a situation has more power than the situation itself. In your business, it means focusing on innovation rather than competition. In your relationships, it means choosing understanding over argument. In your personal growth, it means competing with who you were yesterday rather than fighting with others today. Think about that river we talked about at the beginning. Remember how it flows. Now I want you to become that river in your daily life. When you face a wall, don't crash against it, flow around it. When you encounter resistance, don't push against it. Transform it into momentum. When someone raises their voice, lower yours, not in submission, but in strength. When others rush, move with deliberate patience. When the world pushes for reaction, respond with reflection. These aren't just strategies, they are principles that rewrite the rules of engagement in your favor. Every time you choose non-resistance over conflict, you are not just winning that moment, you are reprogramming your entire response system. You are building new neural pathways that make wisdom your default reaction rather than warfare. My friends, the time has come for you to make a decision. Not just a decision to understand these principles, but a decision to embody them. To become living proof that the highest form of victory doesn't come from subduing others, but from elevating the entire situation. Starting tomorrow morning, I want you to try something. When you face your first challenge of the day, pause. Remember the river. Remember that you have the power to transform that challenge into an opportunity. Don't just react. Respond with purpose. Don't just endure. Elevate. We began by talking about water, about its gentle yet unstoppable power. Now I want you to understand something profound. You are that water. You have within you the same power that carves canyons, shapes coastlines, and size life itself. Not through force, but through persistence. Not through fighting, but through flowing. The oak tree fights the wind and breaks, while the bamboo bends and grows stronger. In your life, be the bamboo. Be the water. Be the force that transforms obstacles into opportunities, resistance into momentum. and challenges into growth. You are not just leaving with information. You are leaving with transformation. You are not just walking away with concepts. You are walking away with power. The power to win without fighting back isn't just a strategy. It's who you are becoming. Remember that every moment presents a choice. A choice to fight against life or to flow with it into greater purpose, greater power, and greater peace. The choice is yours. The time is now. The power is within you. Rise up and become the living proof that the greatest victories in life don't come from fighting back. They come from moving forward with such purpose that fighting becomes unnecessary. Because when you master the art of winning without fighting back, you don't just change the game. You transform the entire playing field. Thank you. And remember, you are the water. Flow with purpose, transform with power, and win without fighting back.